everyone, it's me. I'm back. This is Ellie. Thank you for joining me today. I have returned from who knows where. I've been gone for a couple of weeks. And I got to tell you, I really missed you guys. People who've been with me for a long time will know that through thick and thin, I was always posting every single day of the year, whether it was Christmas Day or my birthday or the day that I had a knee replacement or a hip replacement, or even if one of my pets was sick or if I was sick. Every single day there was a video from the Ellie channel, and sometimes there was even more than one. And then a few months ago, I sort of started to slow down a little bit and I started posting kind of maybe 4 or 5 a week, and then it was every other day, and then it kind of became a bit sparse, and then it was so overwhelming that I didn't really stop, but I kind of, I got a bit overwhelmed. And what got me overwhelmed was that I have relocated, and look at this. This is my background. Now I have, it's daytime. It's actually, I've just finished eating my lunch today, except I have two choices. I can either leave the windows open and it's just a bit, overexposed, or I can close the curtains. Did I say windows? I meant curtains. Close the curtains, which are black curtains, by the way. I'm going to have to do something about that, and put the ring light on, which means I get this. And I like this because you might notice orbs. There's lots and lots of orbs. I noticed that, I just saw one go, where was it? It just went, pew, like as if to prove that it's true. So you're going to see lots of orbs, I think, from now on, as I've been testing my setup in this new location, this new undisclosed location of mine. I've noticed that there are lots of orbs. In my previous house, couldn't see the orbs because my background was so light, but now you can. And so I hope that you are entertained by the dancing little light bits floating around and flying, and sometimes they kind of zip up and down and all kinds of things. So you know what? I'm really thrilled. However, I was in the middle of saying that I was a bit overwhelmed, and the reason why was because I was buying and selling a house, and it was so stressful, so stressful. The house hunt, the dealing with estate agents, although the agent that sold me this house was lovely, and I've even invited her over for a cup of tea now and then to see what the progress is. She was actually wonderful, and I left her a super duper glowing review on whatever it was. I don't know whether it's Google reviews or some kind of real estate website or something. I'm not really sure. But my selling agent he was hard work, and my buyers were hard work, and the process was really painful and excruciating and complicated, and it was very overwhelming, and having to pack up house and move somewhere else, and worried about the stress that my dog and my cat are going through, and then unpacking and unpacking and unpacking. My house is completely unpacked. And yesterday I took care of the outside as much as I could, because I need somebody to come in and demolish half of the shed that things are going to be going into, because it's awful. Anyway, that's enough about that, but it was just too much, and so I kind of fell off the map. I have another channel for anyone who isn't already aware, and it's a brand new channel. It's called Tarot Well Done, and that's where all the tarot readings are moving to. However, it's gone radio silence there for about 10 days because I just couldn't cope anymore. I couldn't even cope with being able to upload transfer videos from this channel to that channel. I had no internet for more than a week, nearly 10 days. But that's what I'm going to be talking about today, because that lack of internet, and plus something else that happened on my very first night here, which was kind of spooky, that has brought me to this video today, which I thought would be my inaugural kind of brand new studio layout kind of video. Let me see. And that was that in the middle of the night, on my very first night here, not just me, but me and the dog and the cat all heard something. And we all heard it, and it sounded very human, and it sounded like it was in bed. with some of us, because Lola wasn't in the bed. She was next to the bed, but the cat and I were both in the bed. And it felt like there were three of us in that bed, and the dog was not included. I'll tell you all about that a little bit later. But I think it was telling me something. And I've been thinking about it and thinking about it, and I think perhaps that it has been. So today, I thought I would talk about this concept of how we're very stimulated by information, and we've got an awful lot of noise that's happening around us, but we still don't feel full. You know when you're hungry for information, you're hungry for something, you're hungry to hear what you need to know in order to just feel okay, or to feel as though the world's okay, and you're getting lots and lots of info. But somewhere along the line, it's not sustaining you, it's not nourishing you, it's not filling you up. You still feel kind of empty. I think that this is something that is happening a lot these days with a lot of people. I've been spending some time as a YouTube consumer rather than a YouTube content creator, and I've been watching all kinds of things. I've actually been addicted. I had to live off my mobile data for about 10 days in this house. And I've been here almost 2 weeks, by the way. Gosh, it's so fast. But for about 10 days, I had to live off my mobile data because the internet couldn't connect here. There was some kind of a technical thing. And then finally, it got sorted and it's up and running and it's wonderful. But because I was watching a lot of stuff instead of creating a lot of stuff, I actually have some plans for the house, and I have been binge watching. I'm completely addicted to this, actually. I've been binge watching YouTube videos about how to set up a brand new chicken coop, because I'm going to have chickens here and I wanted to learn. And so I've been doing that. But of course, because I've been consuming a lot of YouTube, I've also been watching other things here and there, especially with my little mobile phone being the only thing I could really use. And I've noticed that there is so much noise out there, more than I could ever remember. I actually feel really sorry for people who are subscribed to lots of empty stuff, because they probably don't even know that they are, but there's a lot of empty stuff out there. There's a lot of noise, a lot of talking, a lot of chatter, a lot of opinions, a lot of, arguments, a lot of just, rhetoric and speculation, and on every single topic under the sun, whether it be spiritual or paranormal or political or psychology or even how-to stuff and opinions about all kinds of things, international, local, you name it. There's so much stuff, but there's very little stuff that actually nourishes us. I don't know whether this is something that someone else has said before, but it kind of rings true for me. It feels a little bit like we're super, super thirsty. We've been walking through the desert for a month and we've not been able to get anything more than a drop of water to drink. And suddenly we see this great big bottle of Coke or something. I better not use brand names, but let's just say great big bottle of fizzy, sugary stuff. And we go, oh my gosh, that's going to quench my thirst. And we guzzle the whole thing. Maybe it's even a gallon drum. And we guzzle the whole thing. And, it's so sugary that it puts us in hyper mode, and it rots our teeth and rots our brain. And our face breaks out from all the sugar, except we're still thirsty. It hasn't quenched our thirst. And you know what? That's what the information overload seems to feel like to me. I actually experienced a couple of really interesting things, and I wanted to share them with you because I think they're really relevant. The first one is, because I had no internet, I was working in silence a lot of the time. I'm currently listening to an audiobook, which is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, but I do it in very small doses because he really only has a very simple message in that book, but he says it in 600 different ways because people sometimes need to hear it in 600 different ways. And so I'm listening to 15-minute increments or 20-minute increments, and I didn't want to just have it going non-stop. I also didn't want to use my mobile data for just listening to podcasts about numerous, different topics. I wanted to use it for stuff that I'm really focused on, like learning how to build a chicken coop or learning how to build a veggie patch or that kind of thing. or how to DIY fix something, or how to deal with possums, by the way, because I've got a possum that's taken ownership of this property. But I'm about to teach him some lessons. And so I've been focusing my mobile data hopefully on that more than just the endless, mindless stuff. And so I was working, doing really physical stuff, but I was working solo and generally in silence, which is unusual for me because I always have something in my ear, almost always. And I discovered, along with my little surprise on the first night, I discovered a whole new way of kind of, it's not like I learned anything new. I knew it, but it settled inside me in a different way. And I really, really appreciated this quiet time. It's actually been really cleansing and very enjoyable. And I kind of feel as though, I know this is going to sound strange. You know how I've just used that metaphor of finding the great big gallon drum of fizzy, sugary drink and guzzling it down and feeling nothing? Well, I have found nothing. I've listened to nothing. I've drank nothing in that respect. And I feel much more full than I have in a long time. And you know, people who've seen me around, they know I'm a really happy person to begin with. But I feel even happier. And I think one of the reasons for that is because I learned a little lesson, and that is that less is more. How did I not already know this? But apparently I didn't, because I feel as though it's something I've just learned, and that is that less is more. You know, there's this Swiss psychologist called, well, I think he's passed on a while ago now, Carl Jung. And he is, considered to be like the father of psychology. One of the things that he's best known for is finding the hidden patterns inside the mind, things like the shadow, which I've done some videos on shadow work, and being able to embrace the shadows in order to become whole and really understand yourself fully. Well, Carl Jung has an opinion about this overstimulation of our minds. And he says that what it does is when we overstimulate our minds with external stuff, even if it's stuff that we really enjoy, whether it makes us fearful or anxious or just passes the time, makes the time pass faster, or confirms our biases or whatever, it makes us feel as though we're part of a tribe or something, regardless of what it is, it actually drowns out the inner voice. Because for as long as we are listening to something on the outside, we can't hear what's on the inside. And we lose that true connection that we have that keeps us grounded. And the Gnostics call that the one truth and the light that sits inside us. And of course, the Christians call it the Christ element of Jesus Christ, or the God element within. Greg Braden calls it our divine spark. I think that's similar to the Gnostics in the same way. And there's all different types of, I think Bashar calls it our passion. There's all kinds of different names for it. But basically, for as long as we're focusing our attention outward to anything, we're ignoring the inner voice. And I had no choice. I had no choice because I had no internet. I wasn't going to waste the mobile data that I had on just mindless stuff that I'd be forgetting 10 minutes later. So I unpacked incessantly because there was so much, and I did garden work, and I cleaned the house, and I moved furniture around, and then I unpacked some more stuff. And I was so OCD that I think I've got something like 60 great big moving boxes that I've meticulously taken all the tape off and flattened them and put them in my kind of artsy-fartsy room, because I've got a room devoted to arts and craft now, which is very exciting. Arts and crafts and hobbies, and it happens to be the biggest room in the house as well. So I can do my painting, or I can sew, or I can just do a big craft in the middle of the floor or anything. It's my muck room. And I put it there because I'm going to be using it as a base for my chicken coop and for my veggie patch, to kind of balance out compost and things like that, because it's much better to do that than to use landfill, to take it into landfill and things like that. And I know I'm rambling today, but I'm just so excited to be back. I'm so excited to be back. And I had no choice but to just sort of sit quietly and do all of the, well, not even sitting, to act quietly and to do everything that I did in silence. And you know how wonderful it was? Because I'm surrounded by birds. There's so much vegetation around here that the birds own the neighborhood. And I was able to listen to all of the different species of birds. Some of the birds, I've never heard some of their song before. There are species here, I have no idea what they are, and I can't wait to discover. But also I could hear faraway traffic, or I could hear the sounds of a school bell going, or just the trees rustling in the wind, or the sound of the rain, or, all of that kind of stuff. And it kind of felt more nourishing than all of the stuff that I've been listening to in my, quiet time that's been in my earbuds all day long as I'm working or driving or cooking or whatever it is that I'm doing. Because honestly, I have admitted quite a few times on this channel that I always have something in my ear, and I'm never going to do that again. Yes, I might listen to a podcast, but now that I know what it's like to have the silence, it's amazing. It's really amazing. It's amazing. And it just feels so healing and true and fulfilling. So I'm going to make sure I do a lot more of that. It means that chances are this channel will change a little bit too, because I'm not going to spend quite so much time perfecting it. If I make mistakes, if I ramble, if I do this kind of thing, you're just going to have to live with it. And if you don't like it, then you can go and find someone that doesn't ramble. I don't know. I'm a rambler, so I might just ramble. I'm going to try and keep videos shorter than they probably will end up being. It'll just be like, I don't know, a mission of mine. I don't know if I'm going to be successful, but today is obviously not that day. I'd love for my videos to be 10 minutes or less, but whatever. They're going to be what they're going to be, and people who love it are going to stay, and those who don't, well, good luck to you. But I just feel as though it was I don't know, like the universe said, nah, we're not going to give her any internet for a while. It's not like I live out in the sticks. I actually live in a pretty central area. I just happen to be in a green pocket of that central area. And it was really hard to find a house here, and it took me a year. But finally, somebody felt sorry for me and sold me this one. So I'm really, really, really happy. But for some reason, the universe was not going to give me the internet. And I'm so glad. At the time I was having a grumble and thinking, how am I going to put videos up? How am I going to run my content? How am I going to, talk to the viewers and my subscribers? But actually, I think it was one of the best things that ever happened. This silence gave me a chance to listen to the true aspect of everything, the true reality, the true me, the true surroundings, without layers and layers and layers of artificial, endless opinion and externalizing and projection, and also unresolved trauma, because, a lot of the people that we're listening to are actually acting out of unresolved trauma of their own. And they're transferring it into messages of knowledge, when in fact, all it is they're expunging and exhaling a lot of their own trauma from their past. When you think of it that way, why are we absorbing all of that? Why? We have our own to deal with. Why would we want to absorb somebody else's unresolved trauma? But we often do. Try it. Do you know what? Just disconnect for a few days and go and do something physical. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, then you've got spring. It should be nice and warm now, or getting there. Go and just do something unexpected. Pave your driveway. Or fix the shingles that are starting to come down, or, replace some of the rusty nails on the fence or something. Just do anything that you have to do to get away from the noise for a few days, and then come back and tell me what it felt like. Because if you felt anywhere near as me, then you feel fantastic. Now, let me tell you about this thing that happened on the first night that I moved into this house, and it was very unexpected. I've already told my patrons this. I couldn't wait to tell them, because I'm giving them on Patreon, I'm giving people endless snippets of my life as things are moving on, and I'm going to be doing that increasingly more I've got a concept of happiness, health and prosperity. And so I will be filming a lot of the things that are changing in life and the things that I'm building to be able to move forward with purpose. And that's all going to be appearing on Patreon. I've kind of started slowly, but unpacking is not very exciting, but I do kind of show the house a little bit and things like that. And so it's kind of fun sharing that stuff with patrons. But I did already share this story with them. On night one, I think I went to bed really early because, I was exhausted. Moving out of one house and moving into another house is a full day long expedition. And I think I went to bed maybe 9 o'clock, 9:30, and I was exhausted. And it's a very unfamiliar house. I had not had the locks changed yet because the locksmith said, why don't I come first thing in the morning, because it's going to be too confusing trying to figure out which locks need changing and how you want it done and things like that, while you've got movers here. And so I said, all right. And I thought, what? The people I bought the house from they're pretty decent people. I've met them. I'm not going to worry too much. But I would like to have the locks changed because you never know. They'd been living here 25 years and who knows who's got a key. But that first night, I didn't feel uncomfortable. The house has really wonderful vibes. And so I decided to, just go to bed and get an early night. So I went to bed. I was probably asleep within 10, 15 minutes because I was knackered. And then I woke up. And the reason why I woke up was because the dog started growling, and she sleeps right next to the bed. And I heard her growling, and instinctively I just woke up. Anyway, she was lying or sitting in the doorway of the bedroom, and she was really focused on something and just growling. And I know her sounds. I mean, Lolo's 7. I know her sounds really well. And I could tell that there's something that has caught her attention. Anyway, I kind of was, I opened my ears to listen to what it was. And the cat was sleeping right up against me because she was nervous because it was the first night in a strange house. And all three of us heard this. I know we did. I heard a human person breathing. They were breathing as though they were either in a deep sleep or meditating. It was that kind of a thing. Okay. Now, I had heard possums. We've got a really prolific possum thing happening on this property, which I'm probably going to talk about one day in the future. However, I do know what possums sound like because I am Australian after all, and we have possums everywhere. Possums can sound a bit like an overexcited growly cat or a great big grandfather cat, that kind of half a snory kind of sound. This definitely was not a possum. And it also didn't sound like it was coming from outside the window. It sounded like it was in bed with me. And so, of course, the very first thing I did was shoot up, and I was very awake. And I shot up to get away from the blankets and the pillows so that I could hear really clearly. And of course, being very aware of the fact that this is an unfamiliar house and the locks haven't been changed and the dog is growling. And so I'm listening. I wasn't afraid, but I was very alert and I was very quiet. And I could hear the breathing. And it was right next to me. It's like there was someone in bed with me. It wasn't the cat because the cat could hear it, and it wasn't the dog either. So I sat up on the side of the bed and I listened, and I could still hear it. So I actually got up. I got up and I went into every single room of the house to check the windows and the doors and to look inside cupboards and things just to see, is there anyone could someone have actually come into this house at night? There was nobody in the house. The house was secure. Everything was fine. So I went back to the bedroom and I sat on the end of the bed listening, and I could still hear it, and the dog and the cat could still hear it. I could see their responses. And then it stopped. Now, I must have been listening to this breathing sound for about 20 minutes, and it just sounded very natural, like a natural human person breathing, but breathing in a particular kind of way, like they were either in that deep sleep, which is almost like a meditation, or they were meditating. And not deliberately, just sort of naturally, deeply, beautifully breathing. So I thought to myself, well, I don't know if maybe someone's died in this house before. The people I bought the house from were a wonderful family. The mother and father were similar age to myself, and then they had two daughters living here. One of them was probably around 20, and the other one was slightly older and was living here with her husband. And so there were five people in this house, and they were waiting for the daughter and her husband's house to be built. So they had a brand new house built on acreage, and they were all going to move there. And they're all really nice people. I've met them, and they're wonderful. And they sold me a wonderful house, which I'm very grateful for. If they ever see this video, thank you very much. I know I did well. This is a winner. I really love this house, and I love it with my heart. I mean, I really feel it. And so I'm going to be living here until the day I die. Nobody could move me from this house. It's my forever home. So I wasn't afraid. I don't think anyone's died in this house because they've had this house for 25 years. And they told me about the woman who used to live here before, who had the house built. Unless her husband died, I don't know. But or someone in her family who was living here died, I don't know. But I don't think there's been a death in this house. So I had to kind of eliminate that. And so it's been kind of on the edges of my thoughts as I've been going through the past few days, unpacking and gardening and doing all the things that I'm doing. And then it occurred to me that what it was a message, just like Carl Jung says. When you shut off from the outside world, it can be really uncomfortable. You can feel as though you're missing out, or you can feel fearful of the unknown. But that sense of fear, or whatever it is, or discomfort that you have inside you, is actually the signal. That is the message. It's the message that there's something untapped that you need to know, and you can only find it on the inside. Well, that's kind of what I think this breathing was. I have always, psychologically or spiritually, I've been thinking to myself that this brand new home of mine, which is an old home, but this brand new home of mine marks a brand new traveling forward into something new. It marks the beginning of all kinds of things. My lifestyle is going to change. I'm obviously in a completely different area that I need to discover. The house is finally, after 59 years of living in all kinds of places, I think I counted it, and I think this is my 28th home. 28th home in my lifetime, and it is the final place I'm going to live. I chose it not because it's the most magnificent house, not because it's ready to move into, but because it's perfect for me. It's exactly what I've been looking for, in exactly the kind of street that I want, in exactly the kind of neighborhood that I want. And that's a really personal thing. And when you find it, you know that it's the one. And as soon as I moved in, I knew it was the one. So the neighbors, we're going to have to get along because Ellie's not going anywhere. They all seem nice. I've met quite a few of the neighbors, and they do seem very nice. And I've heard all the gossip. And it's wonderful. But I actually think this breathing sound was saying, welcome to your brand new life. Start as you mean to go on. And that's what the breathing was all about. It was a message from someone, somewhere, maybe even from my higher self, telling me, slow down and breathe, and don't worry about things being perfect, and don't worry about whether it happens quickly or slowly, and don't worry about things like success or, popularity or perfection or whatever. Just be yourself, do your thing, experience the joy of your new life. And I think I heard that message, and so I'm going to listen to that message. Tell me what you think. Tell me how much I've rambled today. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to ramble. Welcome to the new world. Welcome back, Ellie, and welcome back, everyone. It's so great to see you again. It's so great to be part of this community, and I can't wait to see what tomorrow has in store for us. Welcome to this new world. This is Ellie Dreams Down Under. I love knowing you're here, and I'll see you in my dreams. Bye.